Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I resigned from the government 2 weeks ago over the issues that we'll be debating in the days ahead. And since Parliament has now taken direct control of events and decisions in this negotiation, I wanted to be free to participate in that debate and to make the case publicly on these benches that I've made privately within the government over the past year. And I fear that Parliament has sent us on a dangerous course. We are in real danger today of signalling to the European Union and others that we are too scared to leave without a deal, and then tomorrow ordering the Prime Minister to go on her hands and knees, cap in hand to Brussels, no, I won't give way, cap in hand to the European Union to beg for an extension to Article 50, and we don't know what counter-offer they may make. They may demand that that extension must be 2 years. They may demand a large financial charge for that extension. They may even say they won't give an extension, but it's open to us to revoke. And members in this House may face a very difficult, very uncomfortable decision in just a couple of weeks' time. So I believe that we must be willing, if necessary, to take our freedom first and talk afterwards. We already know that the European Union, and I worked up close with a lot of the preparations for no deal, they are already seeking to effectively have an informal 9-month understanding. And there have been a number of points over the last 2 years where the government could have reappraised its approach to these negotiations. For me personally, a year ago, at the point at which the implementation period was agreed, it was clear that our negotiations were getting into a little bit of trouble and that we were in danger of drifting along a path of least resistance, only to find that we had an agreement that Parliament would not accept. And about that time, something else interesting happened. I will give it.
Thank you. I'm extremely grateful, I'm sincerely extremely grateful. Can I just check that, in fact, the Right Honourable Gentleman has made a point of speaking to the Chief Constable of the Police Service of Northern Ireland, who has warned consistently about the dangers of no deal and a hard Brexit and a hard border on the island of Ireland?
I've not spoken to the Chief Constable, but I've been involved in lots of other negotiations on the DEFRA front. But on the 22nd of March last year, when I was visiting Oslo for some fisheries negotiations, our then ambassador to Norway told me that she had had a busy week because she had been placed on standby by the Foreign Office to deliver a letter by hand to the Norwegian government, giving 12 months' notice of our intention to quit the EEA. And in the end, because of the transition agreement, she was stood down, and this country took a conscious decision not to give notice to quit the EEA. And this made me curious, since up until that point, and indeed since, the government has always maintained that when we leave the EU, our agreement under the EEA automatically falls away. And if that were true, and if that were the only possible interpretation of the EEA treaty, why was our ambassador armed with a letter to deliver to the Norwegian government? And after much probing, what I established is that there is indeed more than one interpretation that you could adopt, and the Foreign Office were concerned that in the absence of giving that notice, we would be subject to challenge under the Vienna Convention. And that opened for me a prospect of a different way to approach this, of relying on our existing EEA membership, asserting our rights under that treaty, and simply applying to join the EFTA pillar of the EEA agreement. It's an arrangement that means we would have had no customs union, control of our fisheries and agriculture policy, an independent trade policy, no need for an implementation period, no need for a backstop, no need to worry about whether we have a codicil or a protocol, since we would be able to quit at any time with 12 months' notice in writing. Now, I have tremendous respect for my right honourable friend, the member for West Dorset, and was initially very encouraged when he picked up and ran with this idea. However, as honourable members who know him will know, he also has a tendency to overcomplicate things. So a simple, clean EEA model that could have given us an easy pathway out of this became Norway Plus, then the customs union 2.0 and then a backstop added as well. And the result of that is it's alienated many people on this side of the House who might otherwise support it. So in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, my view on this is that we need to unhitch the customs union and the backstop from any proposal based around our existing EEA membership. That may require us to be ready to leave without an agreement. Secondly, we can dynamically align our regulations over the next 9 months. And finally, we can have that dynamic alignment as a bridge to a new arrangement where we apply to join the EFTA pillar.